Welcome back. You know, if you choose not to vote, like I said, I get it. And we're having a whole conversation here about what voting really means, and actually, which we'll probably hit on more, how involved you really want to get in some of these government roles. And you can get more involved. I don't want to say that voting isn't good. That is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I understand why people in a presidential election feel that their one little vote doesn't matter. But when it comes to your personal finances, what you're trying to accomplish, I don't see how your one vote doesn't matter, because your vote is the only one that matters in choosing to accomplish something for yourself. And, well, Ryan, thanks for sticking around. But, you know, one of these things that people get to vote on for themselves is creating a relationship with somebody who they think can help them accomplish certain goals. And you know, we were just talking about that.
You know, I think that's the biggest thing that's probably hampering most people when it comes to making financial decisions, is not going into it with the objective of meeting the best professional and creating a great relationship, whether it's a financial planner, a mortgage professional, a real estate agent, anybody. That relationship can really go a long way to help you, again, go from where you are to where you want to be the best and the smoothest and most efficient way possible. And I just see it lacking out there so much, that having a great relationship makes a huge difference, not only during the transaction, but every month and every year afterwards. There's no doubt in my mind that, you know, if we as consumers seek to have professional relationships, we're going to win in the end, even if the price isn't the best at the beginning. Yeah,
and if you start really considering what the starting point is and maybe what the finish line is, the finish line in planning your mortgage or buying a house the first time or creating a financial plan, the finish line isn't like the end of that meeting, that consultation. The finish line isn't maybe the first step of implementation or closing on the house. It's down the road when you want to figure out, well, now I want to sell my house, and you have somebody you can trust to help you do that, or rates have come down, or, hey, my life has changed, I need help creating my financial plan or making adjustments. It's a lot easier when you have a relationship in place. It's not always just trying to get rolling a rock that isn't moving. Mm-hmm. I know that could be said better, but you know what I mean? Right. You know, there's no momentum.
Well, you know, and I think under that same premise, we all need to be seeking that. You know, I think everybody wants to have their guy. Everybody wants their guy, but how many people really have their guy? You know, when it comes to anything, whether it major things like financial planning, real estate, mortgage, anything else, or a plumber or a contractor or anything, they want their guy. And I think not a lot of people, they all want that, but I don't think they seek to find it when they choose the professional to work with. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that holds them back from having a great experience when they do these major financial decisions.
Yeah, and it's not in the major financial decisions. I would say everybody think they just keep coming. Do they ever just stop coming? I mean, it's okay. So you get your first job, big financial decision. Get married, can be a big financial decision. You're going to start having kids, more financial decisions. Oh, now your house is underwater. Should I short sell? There's another big financial. I mean, I don't know that they ever stop coming. And then, but the amount of information that's out there, I think it makes people think they can just plug and play whatever they find that day versus having those relationships.
Well, I think even the good relationships, the ones that are really meaningful and impactful over the years, you can go to those people because you know them, you trust them, you've built that trust over time, and go to them with questions like, hey, I helped people with their mortgage 5 or 6, 7 years ago. Now they're thinking about buying a second home and they want to buy cash. It doesn't even have anything to do with me on the mortgage side. But they ask me those questions. Or, hey, I went through a tough financial position, and here's kind of the tough choices I'm having to make. You know, if I need to even think about bankruptcy, do you have somebody I can talk to just to go through what my options are? I trust you, and we've had a relationship. Who do you know, and who do you trust that you could refer me to? So I think a good relationship pays off tenfold over time if it's approached the right way, and there's a mutual agreement there. But I think the biggest challenge is too many people go out and think of these things as transactions, not major life choices, those major changes in life, and finding the right people to guide them through the process. And I think that right professional, especially in mortgage and real estate, is huge.
Right. I mean, you make an interesting point, too. I mean, it's tapping into their network. You know, you go work with somebody, you're now tapping into their network. And this is what they do every single day. I mean, if you talk to somebody in the financial advice business, they're going to know other people who are, are peripherally part of their business. And that's part, I think, of what professionals have to do now to get ahead, is you have to have a network. And I think that's a fair question for somebody to ask. Hey, I want to find the best person who has a great network. What do you do? And that's a great interview question for somebody who's looking for the right person to hire.
Yeah, and then when you go to that relationship, in my opinion, what I look for, and I think consumers can look for, is someone who's going to give them straightforward, honest advice and honest opinions. And I think people need to take that at heart. I think people need to accept honesty more in our world, and straightforwardness as opposed to being a good virtue, as opposed to being something like, well, you didn't really tell me what I wanted to hear. And then they go in the direction of someone who tells them what they want to hear. And I deal with that. I see that all the time. Someone comes in, oh, we got an 8-day closing and it's a short sale and it's this and that. Oh, yeah, no big deal. We can get it done and we have the lowest rates in town. And then lo and behold, 3 days later, they get no phone calls back. No one's walking them through all the stuff they have to sign. Nobody's educating about the process. And then they're frustrated. No, say, look, 8 days is way too soon to close. Logically, it's 20 to 30. And if you're lucky, maybe 17 if you do all these things up front. But no going into it, we need everything up front. And then this is what the process is going to look like. And here's still some pitfalls we may have along the way. Honesty up front, like I said, needs to be encouraged, and consumers need to be looking for that, even if it's not what they want to hear.
Well, Ryan, I mean, that is a key point, and we do have to go to break. But when we come back, we are going to actually discuss an article that was in yesterday's Seattle Times about people telling the truth, about finding a professional who doesn't sugarcoat things, but what they can sometimes do is help you create an effective plan. That was Ryan Leopold, Senior Mortgage Planner at Cobalt Mortgage. My name is Ben Brashen. We'll be right back.